I know a few guys who clearly will have something to say about all of this.
I know them as well, and they are at the Beacon Hill studio with our own VB.
Here they are, Cosmo Macero, O'Neill & Associates, Peter Kadges of the Boston Phoenix. You just saw Joe Battenfeld talking to Sal DeMacy. Let's talk about the speaker up here in Beacon Hill. He is outraged, gentlemen, outraged that his good name and his integrity is being called into question. Do you share his outrage, Cosmo?
I think I said this last week that better idea for him to start talking about this and some of the stuff than not, and he's done that, and I think that's a good thing.
You ought to get in a PR game, I mean, the way this is going.
I'm glad he took my advice, and I think it makes sense for him to come out and talk about it. But, the stories have had an impact, and anytime a guy who says he's not a lobbyist and then registers to lobby, and a public official who cashes out retirement funds to pay off this mortgage has done that, these stories have had an impact. So you got to take that into consideration. But, he's taking it head on, he's confronting it, and that's probably the best thing he can do at this point.
He's blaming the Globe, Peter, or the media, but these are all Globe stories, and saying they're blowing things out of proportion and they're working an agenda. Who's right here? Sal, the Globe, somewhere in the middle?
Well, whenever a politician starts blaming the media, that usually means they're guilty of something. Sal didn't blame the Globe when the Globe was running stories that led people to believe that Sal DeMacy was more powerful than the governor. So if the Globe was right that he's more powerful than the governor, why is the Globe wrong pointing out that there's fishy business going on in his office? Nah. It just doesn't work that way.
He says it's overblown that people are conspiring behind his back to take his job. He says that everybody's behind him. DeLeo's behind him. Rogers is with him. Is that much ado about nothing, or is this the old, Sal, I'm with you, just turn your back so I can get a good shot with this knife?
I think it's a luxury of being the incumbent speaker to be able to say that, because he knows that he can tamp that down in the position that he's in. But it's a reality that those movements are happening. But by coming out and saying it's overblown and they should knock that off, they'll probably lay low for a while, because that's what they do. Those kind of maneuvers happen all the time on Beacon Hill, and they probably will knock it off for a while. But inevitably, it's going to continue.
If nothing else, people aren't talking about that threat anymore. The I could really hurt you stuff that wasn't reflecting well on the speaker either. That seems to have gone totally away.
Well, the I'm going to hurt you incident, which isn't over yet, I think the speaker has handled well.
And he didn't say that.
No.
Somebody else.
Exactly. It reflects poorly on Beacon Hill. I think if Sal DeMacy made a mistake, he made a mistake a long time ago in hunkering down in his bunker. Officials on Beacon Hill are less accessible to the press and to the public than at any time since I can remember, and I grew up around here. I mean, my word, Billy Bulger, who was a tight-lipped guy, was garrulous compared to the leaders up here now. The reason that's a mistake is it makes these guys, as they are, seem very remote from the general public.
You know how it is. They practice transparency until there's something they don't want you to see, and that's the end of it. Ask a question on this, Cosmo. What is the likelihood that Sal DeMacy is the Speaker of the House up here in Beacon Hill this time next year?
I think he's too smart to go out on any terms other than his own if that happens. I'll throw it up at next year. This time I'll throw it up as at least 50-50. But anything that's going to happen is going to be on his own terms. And
if this is it, 85% chance, 90% chance he'll still be there. I have no reason to believe there's anything else. But if there is, each scandal makes it more likely that he won't be there.
From political scandal to sports scandal, last night, Celts-Cavs, Game 4. Celts look horrible. It was on the road. I guess that's what we've come to expect these days. But the big one, Cosmo, LeBron taking it to the hoop, fouled by Pierce. Here we go, into the crowd. LeBron's mom jumps up, going at Pierce, at which point LeBron tells Mom, sit your diaper down, Mom.
That's the grown-up version of, the kid at the youth basketball game saying, Ma, knock it off. And I think that's what we saw there. That was kind of funny. I think anyone who played youth sports can relate to sort of their mother embarrassing them in front of a big crowd, and that's what you saw there.
But with Pedro, I mean, the infamous chant, who's your daddy? for Game 5 at the Garden, don't they got to chant, "Who's your mommy" to LeBron?
I think they're going to have to because there's a perfect opportunity for that to happen.
Here's the question for both of you. At what point in your athletic careers did you have to tell mom to sit her diaper down?
Well, I never did. I wasn't a particularly good athlete.
I find that hard to believe for starters.
Quick kicks were my specialty. Touch football wasn't a
Quick kicks.
Look. You'd have to be a mighty brave person. Any guy has to be a pretty brave person to tell their mother to sit down, and his mother looks pretty feisty.
Cosmo, Mrs. Macero ever give what for?
My mother was the most respectful fan in all cases.
You know what it is
Let's hope you carry on that tradition with little Cosmo.
Yeah,
T-ball's starting up.
You know, it's just parents run amok at Little League games and stuff like this. Although, I mean, his mother's right out personal. Things are pretty rough on that court.
Quickly, the Cheese Man in court today. He's asked the court to let him out under a list of conditions, ankle bracelets. You can search my house whenever. And I will conduct no non-cheese business in the North End. On a scale of 1 to 10, how much are you enjoying the Cheese Man story, Cosmo?
You know what they say? Luca Brasi sleeps with the Parmesan, right? I'm enjoying.
You were like Gene there, giving yourself a pause before you laughed at your own joke.
They're laughing out there, I think. No, it's
At what though? Or at who?
That's right. Doesn't matter. It's I'm enjoying it very much. It's it's interesting to see how the New England Mafia has evolved dramatically over the years.
We're actually over time, but I'll leave you with this thought, gentlemen. He has asked the prison to put in a super-sized toilet for him. Either of you ever used one, and how more comfortable are they?
I don't know. They're going to need a mighty big cell to hold the Cheese Man.
We will find out if the Cheese Man's requests are met well by the judge today. I have a feeling Cheese Man's going to stay in the big house. Cosmo Macero, Vanilla Associates, Peter Cadges of the Boston Phoenix. They are the heavy hitters.